Thank you so much, Yus. Welcome everyone. We've had some amazing lunch yesterday, today. Yesterday dinner was also so good. We've been overeating, and I know this is the toughest part, doing after lunch, but we'll try to make this as interesting and exciting as possible. So, first of all, Michael, thank you so much for joining in with a lot of energy. And yesterday we went through a little framework to understand when we are developing the story, what kind of things do we need to put in. So we have a reason why we want to talk about the story, we want to talk about the location, we want to talk about what's happening, how does everything work. So we've got all the ingredients kind of, and there were few people who volunteered that they will come and tell the stories today. A few of them were forced by me to come and tell the story, including Habiba. And
Habiba forced?
I forced
She's
her.
an non-stop. I'm very surprised.
Yes, of course. And Maya was forcefully pulled into this and she couldn't say no. And continuing that tradition, and since we would have time, I'm also glad to force Nagla also to find 5 minutes sometime later and tell a story that she would like to tell with the group. What we want to do today is the next 90 minutes, we'll spend about 40 minutes trying to understand how do we craft a story. So there is a certain principle, there are few things that we like to keep in mind when we are preparing a story. But please also remember that this is not a recipe. This is not a fixed template. It's almost like this. How many of you like romantic films? Or have you seen romantic films, or at some point of time?
Romantic films? Oh.
Romantic action, drama, right? We all like. So, but there is a reason why, there's a reason why a certain romantic film did really well, and it was very close to you. And there were so many other romantic films also made, but they did not do as well, right? And all of them had the same plot, they had the same things, that the hero is chasing the love of his life, there are ups and downs, and there is some drama, and eventually he finds his love, right? That's mostly the plot in a regular romantic film. Or in the action film also, there is an underdog who discovers that he has some power, and there is some big evil he's trying to fight. There are so many such genres, but there is a reason why some of these films stand out and they stay with us, and many of them don't, right? What we want to do today is understand this little framework, which is a guiding principle. It's not a formula, it's not a recipe. It's something that you can keep with yourself every time you have an opportunity to tell a story. It could be a meeting, it could be as simple as writing a short email, or you've been suddenly asked to come and say something at a conference, you have 5 minutes. You can tell your story keeping some of these things in mind. What we also want to do is, in a bit, I will invite the 6 people who are going to be telling their story. We will divide you into groups of 2 or 3 people. We have 6 French-speaking participants, and we have others who will develop their story in English. I will tell you as we progress what the group is going to discuss, what we will do. But think of this as a master chef kitchen. You've got all the ingredients, you've got everything, you've got spices, your meat, your vegetables. This is now when you cook, right? And like Christine said, please keep the knives out. But this is where you really experiment and put down your thoughts and see how you can structure it. How can I make it interesting? How do I make it personal? Is there something interesting I'm trying to tell? So every group will have one main storyteller, and there will be 1 or 2 people who will be their allies. So they will ask them some questions as an audience member, and they will help them refine the story and make it a little bit more interesting and personal, right? So before I begin any of these things, I also want to emphasize that the idea of telling stories sometimes is over-glamorized. It has suddenly become a very important skill, whereas this is something all of us have done ever since we started walking, speaking, right? So some of the best lessons, some of the biggest values that we have is because we were told stories, right? I'll tell you one story. This is perhaps the story that I remember from my very early childhood. Every time my mother wanted to teach me honesty and not cheat, not do anything. So this is a very popular story in India. There was this guy who was a woodcutter, wood chopper. So he had a big axe, and he would go to the river and he would cut trees, bring the wood back. I need to slow. Okay. So this guy would bring the wood back to his home. One day, the guy was cutting trees and his axe fell in the river. And he was very upset and he was very sad and he was almost crying. Suddenly, the goddess of the river comes out and she says, has anybody heard this story by the way? No? Oh, interesting. The goddess comes out and she sees this guy, he's poor and he's hungry and he's lost his axe, and she says, what happened? He said, I lost my axe. It fell into the river. She goes back to the river and she brings a golden axe, a gold-made axe. And she offers him that this is your axe. And he says, no, this is not mine. No, I can't take it. Then she goes back into the river and she comes back and this time she brings a silver axe. And she offers him that you can keep this, it's the same thing. And he says, no, I can't take it, this is not mine. And she finally goes into the river and brings back his wooden axe, the one that he was using. And then this guy is really happy that, thank you, I'm so glad you could give it to me and everything. And the goddess says that you are so honest, I would like to give you the silver and golden axe also, because you were so honest and you were so good. That's what my mom used to tell me, and if she would have asked me to be honest, I wouldn't get it. But because she told me a story, I could imagine, I could picture, there were emotions coming to me, right? And there was a little bit of bribe that if I'm honest, maybe something good could happen, right? So we have been doing these storytelling, our sons and daughters, we spend time with our parents and grandparents. It's all inside us. So I would never say that somebody knows storytelling and somebody does not. The truth is, everybody knows storytelling. Some people are aware of it, and some people have to be nudged and reminded of how you can do this, right? I would like to start the presentation. Oh, I see myself. That's not what I want to see.
Do you have the click?
I could take a clicker. Right. Okay. So we have all the ingredients, but to be able to tell a good story, we need a narrative, right? It just cannot be a sequence of events. You can't just say that this happened and this happened and this happened. It has to be a little bit spicy. It has to be a little bit dramatic. I should be able to imagine and feel things, right? The first thing that we need to do in a story, and when you are also thinking about your story, is I need an opening context. I need to know as an audience, where is this happening, right? Or what's going on. So if you see any Hollywood film, and especially the one that is shot in New York, they would never start right with the hero working or doing something. They would always have this really busy street, everybody's rushing, getting a coffee, somebody trying to book a cab, and somebody's opening the store. So people allow others to take a moment to see where the story is happening, right? So if you are telling the story today, help us go there. Please transport us in that moment. So if you're speaking that, we built this technology, or we built this program, or we started working with the government, we started working with the bank, or we were working with the startups or the MSMEs. Before you jump into it, take a moment to just give some context as to what is going on. That means you have got me. I'm now hooked for the next part, which is the character. Every story should have a character. I'll explain all of these things also one by one. It's always centered around what you call a protagonist. If you read any fiction book, if you watch any movie, if you watch any advertisement, right? It could be an advertisement for toothpaste, it could be an advertisement for a car. it always has a character. Maybe there's this guy who's with the family trying to go from one place to another. They can't just show the specifications of a car and say that these are the best specs. Please buy this car, best horsepower, best engine. No, they would always have a character who does something. So when you are talking about the story, think of who are the people. We'll go into the depth. Every character in a good story goes through some challenge. There is something that is not happening correctly. There is something missing. There is some problem, or there is something unresolved that needs to be taken care of. Because of which there is a lot of drama. The drama is you could be sad, you could be disappointed, you could be disgusted, or you are hopeful, or maybe you are hurt. There's something going on that character feels, and you have to bring that drama. You have to, I mean, you don't have to be over dramatic, but you have to make us feel what is happening with the character because of the problems. When there is a problem, there is some drama going on, then comes the hero, right? In this case, not really a Shah Rukh Khan or an Amir Khan or a Leonardo DiCaprio, but the hero is anything or anybody that can make the life of the character better or easy. We'll discuss it. And finally, the hero, when he has solved something and he has made something good, he, she, or it, the hero could be anybody. There is wisdom. There is some lesson that we learned. Otherwise, this is just a narration of events or sequence of things that are happening. Every time there's something happens, we learn something, right? So if you build a platform, you must have learned something, right? That this is what I want to tell the world, that we could do this because so and so. If you want to speak about a project, or if you want to say that the reason this product was so successful is because we learned so and so. Those lessons, that wisdom, when it comes out in a story, is when it becomes really, really valuable for me. Otherwise, this is entertainment. We can tell entertaining stories, there is no problem. We watch movies and sometimes they have no wisdom at all. But in stories, for our context, when we are trying to tell the world what we are doing, there is wisdom, right? So let's go over these things one by one. And please, if you have any questions, or if you have any thought, or anything that you don't get, please tell me, right? Like I said, the opening context is allowing people to get transported into something. So if I am talking about, let's say, a technology or a service that was built in India, for example, I will not straight away start talking that so and so technology ABC does this. I will give a little context, and I'm going to talk to you about a country with 1.5 billion population, out of which more than 735. All of these guys are aspirational, are hungry, and a lot of them are also uneducated, right? These are men, these are women who are living in villages, small towns. They're also living in big cities. They have access to mobile. They have very, very cheap internet. And it's like an explosive place, but we don't know what to do with it. Can you imagine a little bit about India when I was telling these things? A little bit, yeah, right? If I would straight away start saying that in India we built this technology A, B, C, D, it's too much. I need to slowly take you to where the story is happening first. It could be about anything, right? And don't worry about rushing into things. When we divide ourselves into groups, a lot of these things will appear, and you will see that, oh, it makes sense. The character, right? The protagonist. It could be the bank that you're working with. It could be a team that developed something. It could be a product. It could be the small businessman or the small businesswoman in a small town. It could be anybody. It could be an influencer. It could be the press. Anybody around whom the story is centered is a character. Now, I'm going to take an example of Yost as a character of a story, for example. Right? If I was to tell you that Yost story with some thriller,
True.
Right? Now, when we bring the character, when we bring who the person is, we need a little bit of explanation as to what that character is. So here I'm trying to tell you, sorry, I will tell you a not so great way of introducing yours. And then here I will tell you a nice way to introduce Yoast in a story. So I could say that Yoast is an international facilitator. He works on futures thinking and he travels all over the world and does a lot of conferences, right? But if Yoast was a character in my story when I'm speaking about, I would describe him by telling him, right? What's his position and role in the society? What is his belief? How do they function on a day-to-day basis? Why does this story revolve around Yoast? So I could say that Yoast is a guy who for the last more than 25 years has been at the forefront of meeting people from across backgrounds, from technology, business, science, finance. And he's somebody who's an extremely curious and well-read, knowledgeable person. He travels all over the world and he's facilitating dialogues between people who would otherwise not speak to each other. But because he's so amazing with his skills, he can read people's minds and he can create conversations out of thin air, and that's what he does. Which of the two makes you understand Yoast a little better? The one where I'm trying to describe him, right? So I've got his belief that he's curious, he's well-read, he connects to people and everything. So when you are speaking about the character in your story, it could be a bank, right? It could be as simple as saying that we work with the central bank. But I don't know what the central bank character is. Maybe you could say some things about the central bank by saying that, I'm just making it up, by the way. I'm not a finance expert, so pardon me, but I'm just making it up. The central bank governor or the president or the CEO is meeting 100 plus financial guarantee institutions every day. Every time their struggle is that we don't know how do we support them in their advertising. So, and then you could build it a little bit more. So what is this guy thinking? Or what is this person struggling with? Or what does he do every day? What is his belief? What does he want to do for the economy? Or what is his vision? When you describe some of these things, it becomes easy for me to visualize, oh, this is this guy. This is what he thinks, this is what he believes in. If you're trying to explain, for example, let's say a small businessman, a small business owner, let's say Noor, for example. Noor runs a bakery shop. I could say that Noor is a startup and she's trying to get access to finance. But you can't imagine what Noor is. I could say that Noor is a 40-year-old woman. She has 2 kids. She runs a bakery in her hometown near Cairo. And for the last 7 years, she's been trying to, get another bakery and get some more savings and everything. But she's also struggling because she can't get the equipment. She can't put out any social media messaging or advertising. But she's also loved a lot by the neighborhood. And for people like Noor, we need something to support them. The moment you bring in these descriptions, it's easy for me to know who Noor is versus just telling that Noor is a startup. So I remember yesterday, I think Habiba was talking about, you showed me that video.
Yes.
Of the guy who seeds and poultry. That's correct? Right. It was the first time in the entire presentation I felt I could connect with the character when he was speaking about that. We need to know businesses, we need to talk to startups and MSMEs and business owners. But the moment you showed, and I could see that there is a picture of doing something with the seeds, and some people are putting equipment and everything. That's the only thing I remember from the entire presentation yesterday, because in my mind the visuals were coming out. So as a storyteller, you would have to try to create some of these visuals in my head. If you can do that, I'm sold. I will remember this forever. So we need to be slightly more bold. We have to become a little fearless. And I understand this, and I can say this because I'm not from this sector. I'm not from finance. I'm not working in a corporate. I can say this very, very honestly, candidly and boldly. I think we are sometimes not fearless enough to tell because we have this notion that I don't need to say everything. I need to, just present just the perfect standard things. If you do that, there is nothing wrong. You will never be able to make an impression or influence people because they will not remember. So when you're trying to describe whatever the character is, I mean, it could be people, it could be the team, it could be, a project, or anybody. You can describe it, amazing. The challenge, extremely important for me. The reason why sometimes the good work that we do, we built a platform, we built a website, we put this event together. This event itself, for example, if I'm just saying that we brought everybody from 8, 10 different countries, and we were able to do this academy, everybody learned, everybody went back home happy, and they had a great experience. The reason why people don't appreciate these things is because they were never even told before how bad or what was missing. So the reason why our good things are not valued enough is because we first haven't described the challenge and problem itself. So only when you describe that something is wrong, something is missing, something is not happening correctly, only then people will value the after situation better. So I could say that we are helping companies, we are giving them $100,000 loan for 1 year, and they are doing great businesses. It's just a statement, it's just a matter of fact. But if I tell you that there are 40,000 businesses, people like Noor and Fatima, who are struggling to get a little bit more money to expand their operations, expand the business, buy something more, employ more people. And because of the money that we are giving them, in 3 months, they could do this, they could expand, they could do things. The before after is something you would see even yesterday when we were watching Shivani's talk, if you remember. So Shivani first spoke about Jennifer. How many of you remember the talk from yesterday? Shivani's talk, the TED talk we watched. Some of you. So Shivani mentioned that Jennifer, who was this lady who was running her shop, she was going through some problems. So she described it really well, right? So when you describe the challenge, you need to bring these moments to say that there is some tension, there is something missing, right? I could just say that, like for example, yesterday I was speaking about moments. I could say that I'm a hardworking person. I could say that I'm a very creative person. But in my story, I don't have to tell. I need to make you feel it. I need to make you feel that I'm creative by telling you something that I did a month ago, or in my previous job, or in the last conference, we had this problem, and we did not know what to do, and some of the guys backed out. I need to present that story and then tell them that we immediately came up with an idea. How about we do something like this? Only when I described the problem, these moments that something was going wrong and missing, you could feel that there is something wrong. And then I could say that we came up with an idea, and therefore I can tell that I'm a creative person. Similarly, people who are going through these challenges, right? It could be as simple as your organization going through a challenge that we are not able to convince or we are not able to do something with one of our stakeholders. Please take a moment to genuinely describe that challenge. Make me feel why, for such a big organization like yours, such a qualified team is not able to do something. Only then, when you tell me that we were able to solve this, we were able to do this, I will have a lot more appreciation that wow, these guys were going through something wrong, something missing, right? So you need to create that little bit of tension, little bit of curiosity, by asking questions or sharing those little bit of details. Yesterday, Naga was telling me the story of one of our ex-colleagues who was into a meeting, and the way she made me able to imagine what was happening because of these moments, right? I remember this very vividly because she said that, the entire board is sitting here and they wanted to speak to another person and everybody could see that, she's walking closely and everybody is tensed and she takes the center stage and one person starts speaking to her and then suddenly in some moment she says something. She could have simply said that, we all had a meeting where we discussed and the meeting went well, the meeting did not go well. But she created those moments where I could feel that in simple ways, drama is when I start anticipating what's going to come next, right? If you are saying something in your story and I can start feeling that what's going to come next, that's perfect. The hero, again, very important. The hero of a story is someone or something which tackles the challenge. The hero uses his or her abilities like skill, intelligence, hard work, process, innovation, collaboration. It could be anything. You could have come up with a platform, or you could have come up with a policy, you could have come up with a brilliant idea that, why don't we do this? It might work. Or you could come up with, why don't we put together a team of these four people who have never worked together? Whatever you did because of which something good happened is the hero of the story. Without the hero, the story is incomplete. So, if you are thinking and developing, and when we divide ourselves into groups, the storyteller will tell that this is, I think, my hero in the story is, and the allies, the other one or two people, they will ask these questions to the storyteller that, this is great, but I want to know a little bit more about the hero, or maybe I want to know a little bit more about the challenge. It's not coming out so strongly. So all of you will be working together for 30-40 minutes, and I will come on every table and I will give you some more guiding questions, some more help. And then we have a coffee break, and then we bring these stories out for everyone. So, like I said, the hero in your story would be a project, a partnering organization, a team, a fund, policy, event, could be technology, could be innovation, anything that made things better, right? If, for example, I was to speak about this conference, that there were people from so many different backgrounds, so many different levels, so many variety of organizations, but there was one idea of a team like Joost and Christine, who were so mindful of everybody's needs and they were talking to everyone and understanding who needs to learn what and take what, then this team that put together everything is the hero of my story. If I go back and tell people that I went for the EMGN Academy in Egypt, and they would ask me like, but why was it successful? I would say probably the team that put together everything, how they thought of it. So then that becomes the hero because the hero executed something and made everything possible. So, in like for example, in Maria's case, and we've been speaking about it, it's the campaign and it's the idea that how this whole thing will function is the hero. That's something I think all of us would love to hear. Or in your case, it could be so many things. You have to take a call of in your story who's the hero. And finally, it's time for wisdom. So if you have done something amazing, if you saw a challenge, if you see that something was not right, somebody was struggling, something was missing, something was going wrong, you did something, you got people together, excuse me, and something good happened, right? The hero finally meets the love of his life, and you were the one responsible. And therefore, there is wisdom. The wisdom could be always talk to the parents. The girl will say yes. Or the hero could be, always believe in yourself and your superpowers will automatically come. In this case, your wisdom could be anything. Your wisdom could be we need to speak to people outside the ecosystem to bring in some fresh ideas. And that is why this product or that is why this program ran so well. Your hero could be that sometimes we have to believe that only collaboration can work. We as an organization cannot do everything alone, right? Whatever your wisdom is, it's almost like asking this question to you. If you were to pass on the legacy of your work, right? And I could ask this question to Nalva maybe. since you were sharing yesterday that a lot of people are interested to ask about transition and everything. If I was to ask you, if you were to pass on the legacy of all the work that you have done, and if you were to get another person to take the position, and if you were to say this one sentence, always remember and fill in the blanks, what would you tell that person? What could be? I know it's a big question, but what's that one piece of wisdom you would give to somebody else who's taking on your work?
It's a passion about what you're doing.
Be passionate about what you do. That's beautiful, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, and in fact, I can ask this question to everyone here. Like, I can ask Yos, and Yos, if you were to give one piece of wisdom to anyone who's the next best facilitator in the world, right? What would you give that? And that's, by the way, a combination of all the lessons he has learned in life, all the conferences and insights that he has gained. But it's now time for wisdom. What would you tell that person?
It's not about yourself, it's about the wisdom of the group.
Beautiful. Anybody else? I would like to ask, it's such a brilliant thing to say. Anybody else? I can ask this question. I can ask anyone. If you were to give a wisdom of your work to someone else who's coming and taking over, what would that be? Please.
Enjoy what you are doing every day.
Every day. That's amazing. I really want to highlight that. That's so important because then work doesn't seem like work. And therefore, maybe, I'm just saying, your story and the challenges and the work that you have done, or all the drama that happened and the hero and everything, it would be nice for people to see there is wisdom coming out of your story. And you could say that we have been able to do this for last 75 years because every person involved is passionate and enjoys making lives better of other people, right? Strong statement, people feel it here. Otherwise, everything else is just a statement that, we are the best, so and so and so and so. This is where you make a personal connection, and this is where I feel that I need to listen to this because this is straight, solid statement, right? So, when you're thinking of a story, think of a great way to open, right? And you can brainstorm within the group. Tell me what the story is about. Who are the people? Is it the general public? Is it the top management? Is it a company? Is it the regulator? Is it the startups? Is it the business owners? Help me imagine a little bit who these people are. What are they going through? Like, is something wrong, something missing? What's happening because of that? What did you do? What's your work, thinking, idea that became like a hero? And therefore, you gained some wisdom that you want to give to the world, right? What we want to do next is, and I want to do a quick time check. We have how many minutes? What, 35?
We have to be finished by 4:30, whatever.
No, so I'm thinking for the coffee break
We have a coffee break in 40 minutes.
in 40 minutes. I'm so good.
That's one thing.
This is right here, 40 minutes. So I'm going to invite very warmly all the 6 people who volunteered or were forced by me to please join me here. People who are going to tell the stories. So please give it up for Maria, Hajar, Mohammed, please join us in half, Nesma and Habiba. Right, if you could all please be here in some distance. First of all, please, a big round of applause for all of them. They are going to be the master chefs today. All of them have a lot of ideas, a lot of ingredients, everything ready. What we want to do is, maybe if I could request 3 of you so that I can see the screen. Right, so the groups are led by all of these 6 wonderful people. We have 4 groups, English speaking, and we have 2 groups that will work together in French, and they can present the story also in French. There is 1 storyteller in the group, these are the storytellers, and 1 or 2 more people will be their allies. The storyteller will develop their own story, whatever story you are thinking, you are working on, and the allies will ask them the right questions. The questions, the ones that we discussed yesterday, like why are we talking about it, who are the people, where is it happening, what is that one big insight you want to tell, what is the wisdom. So you sharpen your story so that you're not in your own bubble, but there are people who are acting like they're your own real audience, so that you can make it better. And at the end, everybody will come and tell their story for 5 to 6 minutes. We will record these stories. There are people who are watching us, they will be listening to this, and you can always, like I said, this is just an attempt, right? You go back, you will reflect, you will talk to your colleagues, your friends, and you will find ways to make it even more interesting. As you develop your story, and I'm going to keep this slide live all throughout the next 40 minutes. Right. So as you are developing your story, just keep in mind some of these things. That am I able to get people's attention? Can I get their curiosity in the beginning? Am I talking about the people? Can people relate to who are the people I'm talking about? Will my audience be able to see the challenge? Moments. Am I able to make my audience feel the strong moments? So instead of saying that we were fabulous, or instead of saying that we were the best, can you make people feel how you were the best? Or you could even go the other way. You could say that, oh, we did terribly wrong. Make people feel why did you do wrong. It's the moments I'm talking about. The impact overall, do you think people can imagine my story or make a connection? And finally, as many as possible, these story elements are included in your story, right? So for the French-speaking group, Christine, if I may request, you have the names of how we're dividing ourselves into groups. By the way, we also have to give you the handouts.
Okay, so just for the French-speaking group, we have Ajit with Agiles, and Alice. So Ajit avec Agile et Alice.
Also, 2 speakers in one group?
That's
No, so we have only 1 speaker in one group.
yeah, one group. Ajit is one
Okay,
speaker
perfect.
with Agile and Alice.
Great.
And then the other French-speaking is Mohammed with Karim and Abdelrahman from Morocco.
Could you please join them, and you could just pick your table wherever you want to sit. All right. So for the other 4 speakers, I would like you to please come and join any of your favorite storytellers. Preferably 1 or 2 people only in the group. So you want to pick your allies, or you want the allies to pick you?
Just the account.
Oh, so you want to pick your allies?
They should.
Oh, they should. So, okay. So, who would want to be, let's go one by one. Who wants to be Uga's ally? Awesome. Please join me. And for Nesma and for Maria?
Yeah, I'm going there.
Awesome.
I will leave my team, and go with the others.
Great. So, Maria, you have, which team are you have? Alright. So, let's time it. Which team are you joining?
If I would join, I would join with Habib.
If so, there is a question that you have. Why?
I didn't like
Or you don't like?
Yeah, I can.
No, that's okay. I mean, they are speaking, but you have to help them develop the story. So you can be the support. Okay, perfect. Right. So, are we sorted? Are we sorted by the way? Who's your ally?
أنا خنت أنا اشتركت
Ali? No, you don't have to speak, but you have to help.
Yes.
Or you don't want to help at
You will
all?
help us a lot, come on.
Come on. Ali, you should help. That would be great. That's the whole point of being here, to experiment and to help and lead.
دي هنا خلاص يلا يلا جماعة spread yourself yeah.
Alright, so please take seats, and I hope everybody has somebody to help.
What should I say?
No, you just have to help Ihab with his story and
تكاو help me help
One more? We have a powerhouse. We have a powerhouse. All right.
So we can have a drink.
We have 30 minutes. Please find your seats. Let's start working. Yeah. So you can share with Ali and they can discuss and they can ask some questions. You can ask. Yeah, you just start discussing. No, you are presenting. It's your story. Right. Let's all take our seats and I will come to every table. You can take lots of questions. Yeah, few chairs here.
We have candidates.
Great. We have. We have 30 minutes. My advice is. Can I have your attention for a minute? Just 1 minute, quick. I request your attention for just 1 minute. I would recommend that the first 5 minutes, let the storyteller tell what the story is. Before you start asking them questions, just hear them out, what their story is, and then you start asking them, brainstorming them, some of these things. You can ask them, who's the character, what challenge are you speaking about?
Related to our company or
Whatever story you want to talk about. Yeah. Whatever your story is. Right? And on the screen you have some of these guiding thoughts. The allies, especially the allies. You can ask the storyteller, how are you going to open the story? Who's the character? What's the big challenge in your story? What's the biggest insight and moments? Right? Are you including all of these story elements? So one person is developing, but the allies are helping. And therefore both of you learn. Right? I'm around, I'm going to be going to each table, just listening. And if I feel the need, I will share something. We have 30 minutes.
بتواجه مشاكل صعبة بتواجه مشاكل منها هو الارتفاع في شيء زيادة
هو دخل واحد اسم مشخص اي شخص هو ما الساعة نص وقال وقال عن العمل لا or due to lack of one of them تذكر موضوعات هذا فقط اسم الاشخاص اللي غير في الستوري. الستوري غير في الستوري تجيب اشخاص شخص مثلا ابو عبد الله اخذ عنده فكره رائده وشغل معه اسامه وحسن وفاطمه وكذا كذا في شويه اكشن في شويه صارت قصص قصه يعني قصة في نسيب تمام المشاريع أسماء أشخاص كان لا مش مجرد يعني تلميذ خرج شو اسمه هو الهيرو هو وكيلها وعواد يحكم موسع لقدم التمويل يفهم هو سادة هو بعد الفكرة واحدة الشركة قدمت التمويل الضمان وأصدر معاه شوية جيران لكن الموسع يجي المؤسسة بالأخير منه اللي قام بالدور أنت الشخص اللي قال أنت جاك من المؤسسة كان يعاني هذا جاك
Then the hero, there is a different person here. What she said, that this is the start of the that proposed to use AI
حكي لك بقى وبعدين حيطلعوا القرب والصوم دخل بعدين في قصة لكن هو قصة عادية شخص اسمه تخرج حديث يبحث عن عمل ايوه استجاب مئات القصص انت خلاص احكي لي قصتك موجود البروشور. أنا نسيت رسمي واجب بقول لك
If I could request everybody's attention, we have 5 more minutes. We have 5 more minutes before we go into a coffee break. If you have prepared your story already, I would like you to reflect on some of these statements again. If you feel you have a great opening, the people that you were talking about are well understood, well seen, challenge, overall moment I can feel in your story. Just go over some of these things one last time. 5 more minutes and then we take a break of 20 minutes, Krishna. The coffee break is for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Great. And then we all come back and we will listen to all the stories. Got it.
في موجود صار الآن موجود الموضوع الآن في حالات يعني
Three paragraphs is enough. Sorry? 3 paragraphs. 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
6. It's special because everybody is talking about work story and you are telling a personal story, so it's a great motivation. It's the craft that's more important. So to be able to go through this thinking process.
خد بالك لما تبص الفيديو ده والله هذا دلوقتي لما انت اتحولت الموبايلات ببص دايما على العلامه بتاعت الفيديو دي اللي هناك دي لو لقيت عليها اكس وعليها شرط حمراء يبقى فصل ماشي ايوه
On peut pas, mais c'est magnifique quand même. Non, mais je crois qu'on doit vraiment parler de non, j'adore. C'est juste qu'on a besoin de
Okay, can I quick check? How many of you feel ready to present after the coffee break? Ready? How about you guys? Ready? 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 Monsieur? Yeah. How are you doing? You feel ready? After coffee break, you feel ready? خلاص. Okay. Come on. Okay. So everybody seems to be ready. That means before we gonna do the presentation, have some cake, have some juice, and time-wise, we are doing good, right?
Yeah, absolutely on time. 20-minute break.
Okay, so we're going to continue as written in 20 minutes, so that we don't have stress to complete the workshop. Yeah? So showtime in 20 minutes. On the left side are your croissants, your cakes, your juices. Not on the right side. Kahwa. Or whatever you say in Egyptian. Yeah? Ahwa. Ahwa. Jala. 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 Yala. Yala. Yala.